Like I told you on the way in, which you didn't know, I used to play the drums.
Right, I never knew that. I'm like, I can see it. There's a lot of energy there. Your mom was probably trying to.
Oh, it was great.
My
grandma played the drums in a band.
What?
Yeah, my grandma. Now that we want to get into that, we can get into that later.
I want to know about grandma playing the drums.
We are here for you. You are here for us. We are here together, and that makes it our time at the Fest podcast.
Well, you just chose that on your own. We didn't discuss which one you're going to use tonight on the way in.
Nobody needs to discuss on that. I have the intros.
You have the books all written down?
I wrote them, so I get to pick them.
What?
Hey, it looks like you got a new decoration back there, Jared. A little new prop.
I do. I have a Sun Devil flag. Thank you very much, Luke Schaefer.
Yeah, thanks to me. Thanks to yours truly.
That was awesome. I apologize for when you showed it to me this afternoon, not to have thanked you appropriately and said that it needed to be ironed.
Yeah, the first thing you say is like, that needs to be ironed. First of all, I didn't know you were such an iron type of guy.
I'm not, but like when you're around the Luke Schaeferness and everything has to be in a certain spot, and everything has to be perfect, you kind of look at everything with a certain view. So that's immediately the first thing I saw.
So you flipped it right on me. I appreciate that.
It's not me.
Well, let's do this. This is my space. This is like dirty dancing, right? But we'll never, ever dirty dance together.
Thank God. Are you sure?
But I gladly would have hung up another NDSU.
No, you know what you threatened me with, and I probably would have had to kill you with? The U of A flag.
Well, that got your attention.
I would have had to burn it. Or flush it down the toilet. Or, you know what? I would have left it for the homeless dude. He could have wrapped himself up in it.
Hey, you know what? We got a nice little color action behind you now.
We got some motif. You got the NDSU behind me, or behind you. I got the issue behind me.
And I like that one because it's a little old school. It's not old school.
No,
but the other ones were black and all that kind of stuff. No, whatever. Well, let's sound check this deal, Jared.
All right. So we're going to talk in the Indie Country Fest update about some things that are going on.
Yes, it's exciting. It's fun. It's good. Can't wait for the updates.
Those price checks really get you going. And then we're going to go into festival update. I don't know. This one's kind of hit me hard on the way in.
Yeah, so. It'll be good. It'll be a good conversation. I mean, it's obviously relative of what has happened today.
Definitely. It happened right after we got done with our interview, I think. So.
Definitely has affected the music industry.
Yeah, and it's interesting to note because you're, 8 years younger than me?
Yeah, something like that.
Right, and how it's affecting me and then how it affects you and kind of the change in age right there is just interesting that we're both kind of wrapped up in that. So.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be a good conversation.
Yeah, and then great. Our headliner was really awesome.
This was fun. This was a great guy that we know, great guy that's the GM of the Chesapeake Energy Arena, a great guy in the live entertainment industry, a fellow that's from North Dakota, just like myself. But that's Chris Semaru of the Chesapeake, who's the GM of the Chesapeake, Arena.
And you know what was great
Arena.
about that was that there were certain things that just sort of that interview just tied itself in. So it was really good.
Yeah. Then we'll hit Ralphy's top 3, and then we'll hit stage left. And hey, tell him how we can get a hold of them and us.
How they can get a hold of us or watch our podcast or listen to our podcast. So for those of you that can't wait for the video to come out, the podcast drops on Fridays on iTunes and all your other podcasting sources. We'd really like to get a review and your subscription. Everybody that subscribes, leave a review. Tell us how awesome we are. We'll go on and read that review. And we're kind of trying to build those subscriptions up.
Yeah, so the first 100 people that subscribe to our YouTube channel, so you can obviously watch this as well. So jump over to our YouTube channel, subscribe, so you'll obviously get it when we drop a new YouTube, which is every Friday as well.
All right.
We're going to put you into a drawing, and that will be for some festival tickets for festivals around Probably the country.
And we're starting to bump that up. I think we're a third of the way to our goal.
Yeah, over a third. So we're cruising right along. So jump on, subscribe, check us out there. It's good. You can see the studios. You can see us. You can see the things that we're talking about on the screen.
Right.
And, check out our little...
got a little Sparky going
deco.
here. Oh.
Yeah. And you can see Jared's ASU flag, or you can see my NDSU
And it all looks great because of the boys at Light Jumper Media.
That's right. That's right. So do we want to roll into ND Country Fest updates, my friend?
We do. So what do you got going on this week?
First, before we jump in that's Find Your Keys with Lee, which is brought to you by Alliance Real Estate.
Yep.
So what do we have? We have a price increase coming up on the 21st of October. Obviously, some things are getting tight. We've talked about VIP camping. We've talked about VIP tickets. You want to jump on at ndcountryfest.com before noon on the 21st, noon central on the 21st of October to grab that experience that you want. So make sure you check that out and jump on there and see that. Our Spotify lists.
Yeah, you had one of the fans pick a song last week.
Yep. Live. So from here on out, when we're on our Facebook Live, so you can jump over to the ND Country Fest Facebook, like that, hit the notifications, we will go live, and then we give away some stuff. We make some drinks on there every Thursday, which is our Thirsty Thursday updates.
And we kind of have, this week's should be fun.
It'll be good. It'll be a little different setting, we'll say.
We decided to, what?
Change it up.
Definitely it's a change up. It's not roasting here, so we're going to try something different.
So what we're doing with everybody is you can go ahead and drop in on our Thirsty Thursdays at usually 1 p.m. Central. Yep. And then we do a thing where we're building our Spotify list we do a playlist every year. So our 2021 playlist, we're letting you, our fans, everybody there decide what we should add every week. And by the time it's said and done, we should have a great playlist, which will be made by our fans, which is really cool. And we've had a lot of interaction, and that's great to see.
So this year's lineup is Thursday night. Who you got going?
So the big whole lineup, we have Little Texas, we have Diamond Rio, we have Brantley Gilbert, which is headlining Friday. We have Dustin Lynch, we have Leroy Parnell, we have John Michael Montgomery. It's full of 52 major country music hits.
I was just gonna ask you how many hits.
52, and it's really cool because it's a mix. It's a great mix from traditional country to relevant today's new country.
A little rock country with Brantley Gilbert a little bit? What would you call it?
Completely, right? So that's rock country. Brantley Gilbert brings it with high energy, and that's a Friday night, right?
Yeah, I can't wait for that show.
Friday night with Brantley Gilbert. I mean, he just crushes it. And you know what? He has great new material that's coming out right now, and he's climbing the charts with his new song, which is Hard Days, which is really cool. We've got a lot of interaction with him, which you'll see on our Facebook, too, here shortly in the next couple of weeks that's coming out too with us. This is kind of cool. And then Dustin Lynch too. Dustin Lynch is headlining Saturday night. Dustin Lynch had tons of new material coming out right before the Cove.
The Rona?
Right before the Cove, which was that was hard, but yet it still got out there, but he still wanted to go on tour and put that into live performances. But you know what? You'll see it at ND Country Fest on July 8, 9, and 10 up in North Dakota with us just outside of Bismarck.
I can't wait.
Yeah, let's hear a little bit more about Lee.
What sets me apart is I like to interact with my clients a little bit more, maybe just actually become more friends with them than just a client business relationship. I'd probably have to say it'd be Who Hut, just because I like the food and my daughter absolutely loves it. I chose real estate because I like to help people, and it's fun, it's exciting, it can be stressful, but it's always good to just find a solution to a problem.
All right, it's time for festival news from around
the world, Jared.
I don't know if it's very festive or around the world. I guess this would be around the world.
This is a tough one, It's a tough one. We're going to talk about it, as everybody knows, probably.
Yeah,
right?
we were in the middle of going over festival news from around the world, which is, what do you think's harder? Preparing for the headliner or trying to find festival news that isn't canceled live stream or 2021 news?
Well, there isn't, right? There isn't a ton of stuff going on. There isn't, but we have found some.
We did. We sat down. We did find some
live.
And right in the middle of that, the news came out about Eddie Van Halen passing away.
Yeah, that's tough, man.
And that's a kick right in the mortality for me, because I think I was 14 when 84 came out, or 1984 came out. And that opening riff of Jump, it takes me back to middle school dancing. I'm a teenager.
You are. It kind of shook you.
It did.
It has. Ever since you got that news.
It's a little bit of a bummer.
You're a little shooken.
Eddie Van Halen's probably the greatest guitarist of my generation, if he is my generation.
Well, it's one of those, right, where he changed the industry, changed the guitar, the instrument itself.
Definitely changed it.
And I don't know if a lot of people know this, but he's one of the first ones to ever start tapping on the guitar. Not, you play it like this, but then he's like, right. Like with Eruption and all that stuff. It's amazing. It's crazy that happened. It's hard. With me, I have older brothers, so they were listening to Van Halen ever since I was born, right?
Because they're my age, right?
The oldest is about your age, and then they work their way down to me. And
that's how it goes, man. It's like you hear this song and you start listening to Van Halen. 84 came out, and then automatically had to get into Diver Down and Van Halen 2 and all those albums that came out in the 70s or late 70s, and then you're all into that, and then you're like, hey, you've got to listen to this album. This is great stuff, and it's amazing.
A lot of memories that I have on that. So, like I told you on the way in, which you didn't know, I used to play the drums.
Right, I never knew that. I'm like, I can see it. There's a lot of energy there. Your mom was probably trying to.
Oh, it was great.
My
grandma played the drums in a band.
What?
Yeah, my grandma. Now that we want to get into that, we can get into that later.
I want to know about grandma playing the drums.
She played the drums, and my grandpa played the accordion.
Polka band?
Oh no, kind of, but recent. It was. That should be another episode. That's pretty good. That's really good. Pretty good. It's really good. But anyway, my brother played electric guitar and still does, and is phenomenal at it. Phenomenal. So growing up, I was playing the drums.
You could have the Schaeffers instead of the Van Halen.
Yeah, no, we're not good.
Not that good.
Not even close. So Panama is a big song.
Panama.
Yes.
Panama.
So I played the drums, and my brother played electric guitar to it, and it was pretty cool. So that's when I heard that today, I was like, man, that sucks.
Panama. We were trying to go over what our favorite 1984 song or our favorite Van Halen songs were. Mm-hmm. And mine are really about 1984, except maybe Running with the Devil. Jamie's Got a Gun? Is that? No. Jamie's Crying.
Yeah.
So
there you go.
But
it was tough news. It was tough. I pulled some stuff off of Twitter.
It's going crazy because that's everywhere.
Some legends, even legends commented on this. Lenny Kravitz, this is what he wrote. Legendary guitarist and musical innovator Edward Van Halen. He gave the dates 1955 to 2020. Heaven will be electric tonight.
Yeah, they will.
For sure. This one, Steve Vai. I don't know. A lot of people know. Steve, you got to know.
Probably
Steve Vai,
one of the greatest guitarists.
Anything in music. One, probably close to Eddie Van Halen, if not the same. But here's what Steve said. Feeling deep sadness and overwhelming appreciation. The appreciation and love for him is bigger, though. Let's take a minute and try to imagine our world if he never showed up. It's unthinkable.
It is. Like, honestly, if there was no Jump, there was no 84. I even remember when Van Halen split and David Lee Roth left, and it was kind of like a divorce in the family. And which side are you going to choose? And I remember getting OU812, sitting in my bedroom in the basement, looking at that album, going, "Am I going to like this? Do I want to like this? Is it something I should like?" I like old Van Halen, not new Van Halen, but part of me loves Hagar. Can't Drive 55. I loved that video growing up. And so it was a rough time. And, trying to accept that and what Van Halen's come and David Lee Roth has come back. I'm going to be interested to see what happens after this and what sort of tribute shows in the Corona world or in the COVID world happen after it. But it was amazing.
I'm more on the end of how he changed how to play the guitar.
It's a whole nother way.
The influence that he's had on people since he has been here, in the way he played the guitar and the innovation and how fast, man, he's just fast and flying and everything. That's where the difference is for me, because that's what Steve Vai was saying. He's like, if he had never been here, he probably never would have influenced Steve, right?
Would have spawned all of those artists that have followed him or tried to be him.
So here's another one from Paul Stanley. If you don't know, that's the lead singer of Kiss.
Ooh.
He goes, "Oh no, speechless, a trailblazer and someone who always gave everything to his music, a good soul. I remember first seeing him playing at the Starwood in 1976, and he was Eddie Van Halen."
Yeah.
How about that? 1976. That was Paul Stanley. That's amazing. It's kind of almost speechless. You know what I mean?
rough.
Ozzy Osbourne, Eddie Van Halen was one of the nicest guys I ever worked with, and we shared so many laughs together. His influence on music, and especially the guitar, has been immeasurable. He was an absolute legend. Eddie, I'll see you on the other side, my friend. Love, Ozzy.
How is Ozzy still rolling around and Eddie's not? That's crazy. Did you ever get a chance to see Van Halen live?
No, and that's one that I desperately would have loved to see. It's one of those bucket list things that never happened, and deeply regret it still to this day. So no, I did not, and I bet. Did you? I don't remember if you said you did.
I saw him
didn't.
once, 88. I think it's the Monsters of Rock in Denver, Mile High, maybe. Phenomenal. Gosh, who was on that? Van Halen, Metallica, Dokken. You ever listen to Dokken?
Oh yeah.
In My Dreams.
You know, Dokken lives here.
Really?
Yeah, he lives here.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Dokken. I did.
I said that right away when we were going to do this. I'm like, hey, Dokken lives here. We could get him on. That'd be great.
That'd be awesome.
Get him in studio.
I could just fanboy out about all my breakups with, in high school and in my dream songs.
Then maybe we shouldn't get him here.
It's like, and then who else? Kingdom Come, maybe, if I remember right. But it's one of the last shows I saw before I moved down here. That and NXS in Denver, and it was a big arena show and pretty epic because you got Metallica, you've got Van Halen, and it's OU81 too. And by that time, I'd kind of accepted the new stepdad in the family and was moving on to the new version of Van Halen at that point. So.
Yeah, it's a sad day for music and entertainment in general.
You know what I can't wait for is the. Have you seen The Dirty on Netflix? That's the Motley Crue
I've seen
docudrama.
that. Yep.
I can't wait for the Van Halen version of that because I think it'd be really good, right?
Are they really doing it? Or are you
I don't know.
just thinking,
They have to at this point, right? Just with the David Lee Roth part. Dr. Drew grew up with David Lee Roth and was around that whole thing, and they played at his high school. It's an interconnected world there, and I think it'd be a great documentary.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Sad day. Rest in peace.
Yeah, it's gonna take me a little bit to get over this, I think.
Eddie Van Halen, rest in peace, my friend.
So we decided to make our own content because we can't find any music festivals.
What do you mean make our own content?
Well, so
this is happening, buddy.
It is happening. But maybe if they call you back. I was sitting around my band's
so negative today?
Because they haven't called you back 3 times.
We'll just show up. I'm going to take this. We're going to Tracy Bird in Wickenburg.
Right.
On the October 28th, 29th. We're just going to show up. It's at the Flying E Ranch in Wickenburg, Arizona. It's Tracy Bird.
No idea.
Acoustic.
Yeah.
If anybody knows anything or country music, it definitely is Tracy Bird. It's a super, I'm a big fan. And it'll be fun.
It'll just be fun to see live music. And like I was saying, I was sitting there and my Bands in Town app popped up and said, hey, Elefante is playing this weekend or next weekend live. Do you want to go? And I immediately texted you and I'm like, hey, I don't know. Do you want to go see this band? I don't know what they play.
Nobody knows.
I don't know what type of music it is. I've never heard them, but it's live music. What do you say? And I've got one better. Let's go see Tracy Bird. And
at least one of us knew that.
Yeah, you knew it, and I'm in. Like I'll go listen to it because it'll be live music. It's a change, right?
Well, and I'll give you this. You're right. I've called 3 times. They say call for tickets. You can't buy them online or anything like that. I've heard it advertised a ton on the radio here with the traditional country radio station.
Is that just
Real
because
Country.
they're just swamped with people that want to go see live music?
Maybe it's sold out.
So we're gonna go if we can get a hold of the tickets.
We're going anyway. We're just
gonna pull a Luke Schaefer and show up and walk in.
Well, it'll be like, hey, this is Luke and Jared from the Fest Podcast.
We want to interview you.
And I called you 4 times.
Maybe Tracy Bird should be our next interview.
So if you're at the Flying E Ranch,
please call us.
Call us back because we're coming.
Luke Schaefer back.
I mean, we want to buy the tickets too, so it's not like it's not like we're trying to.
No, we're in. We want to go spend the money and hang out.
We're not looking for comps. We're just looking to come in and check it out.
So that's at the end of the month. So
that's at the end of the month. That'll be fun. We'll keep you guys updated for that.
Yeah. See if they call us back next week.
ND Country Fest 2021 is coming back stronger and better than ever with Brantley Gilbert, Dustin Lynch, Little Texas, featuring featuring Diamond Rio, Leroy Parnell, John Michael Montgomery, with more coming soon. Plan now to attend Dakota's largest and nation's fastest growing country music and camping festival, ndcountryfest.com.
Sponsored by Coors Light, Action Motorsports, New Vision Security, Trans Trash, Smithworks, and American Family Insurance, DJ Coulter Agency.
All right, we are jumping into the headliner here, brought to you by Bruno's Pizza, $15.99 any large, and order today at Bruno's ND. Today we have a great headliner for you, a leader in live entertainment industry, the man of the Ralph Ingolstead Arena, Denny Sanford Premier Center, and now currently the GM of the Chesapeake Energy Arena in Oklahoma City. We have Chris Semaru with us today. Thanks for joining us, Chris. How are you?
Hey, it's great to be on the podcast. Congratulations on kicking this off. It's good to be with you.
Hey, thanks for coming.
Thank you. Let's jump. We have a couple things in common here. Let's talk about a little bit of background to you. I'm a North Dakota guy, and it just so happens you are as well. So grew up, all that good stuff?
Yeah, absolutely. I graduated from Minot High School back in '96 and grew up in Western North Dakota, and then moved out east to Grand Forks, where I went to University of North Dakota and graduated in 2000. And so I've been all over the state and consider it home, and really appreciate all the wonderful aspects North Dakota has to offer before I moved down to South Dakota just a few years ago.
Excellent. So Minot, North Dakota, we have one of our very own, Brandon Ralph. You know that he's
Brandon Ralphy?
He's a Minot grad as well. So we're all over the place, right? We're with that connection is great. ACMs, let's jump in that. You had a little bit of you worked with the ACMs for a long time. You know, we have a lot of country music listeners. Let's hear a little bit about that and your experience.
Well, I've been really fortunate over the years to touch various corners of the industry and had the opportunity to work in various capacities for the Academy of Country Music, putting on, some pre-shows for them, days leading up to the festival, some post events. And it was fantastic. It was great to see how an award show comes together. That's very, very different than the sports and entertainment that I grew up working. So it was awesome. It was a part of the 50th annual event at Texas Stadium. And it was a very, very valuable experience because you got to see lots of the folks on the road that you dealt with when they came to your venue. So to strengthen those relationships and hopefully leverage those to bring in more content to your facility. So even to this day, it's fun to host a tour and somebody will be on the tour and say, hey, remember that concert on Fremont Street in Vegas 7 years ago? And you can share a story that's outside of the normal just arena world. So super valuable experience. I'm very thankful for it.
So what's your favorite memory or moment from doing that or working with the ACMs?
I think it was just the challenges we overcame with, them picking out a parking lot off the strip and saying, put on a festival, or go downtown, to Fremont Street and put on the biggest record-breaking attendance show they've ever had. And a lot of, nuances and challenges that come into a space that you had never even been to before, and trying to execute a safe and successful event. So once it was done and it worked, it was very gratifying and really built up the energy leading to the award show each April.
Nice.
That's great. Yep. Now, the beginning of your career, towards the beginning, you had a lot to do with the beautiful, beautiful arena up in Grand Forks, the Ralph Ingolstead Arena, where majority of our listeners know that that's big for the UND hockey team and NCAA and all that great stuff. And you had a major impact or major involvement in that. Take us through that. I mean, that had to be crazy.
Well, the journey at the Ralph, like many great journeys, started on spring break in Las Vegas. And I had a chance to...
Nice.
Wait, you said spring break in Las Vegas?
Yeah, not all bad things happen on spring break, right? There's a lot of good things that come out of spring break.
I'd care to
all
differ.
business. All business.
That's right. And so I had a chance to meet Mr. Ingolstead on that spring break trip right after he announced his gift to the University of North Dakota to build the facility. And I had a chance to tell him, I just want to be a part of it. And he said, we're not there yet, but someday when we'll stay in touch. And we did, and had the opportunity to come on as one of the original 4 employees, and didn't know what I didn't know at all. But we had a great team of people that worked very hard, and we laid out the plans and built this facility that I think to this day is still one of the nicest venues in the world. And it's 19 years old, I think. It still feels new when you walk through it. So that's a testament to the staff they have, who take such pride in what they do there. And really, it's a hallmark venue, not only in hockey, but in sports all over the world. So super blessed to stay in my own backyard, to start off in the sports entertainment industry and not have to move to a major market to do so. Did it right in Grand Forks, North Dakota.
So did you meet him at the craps table, or how'd that work out?
No, he had a special, the Mai Tai bar in the back of the Imperial Palace he would go to at night, and we met there, and it's still a special place, and we think about him often, and I was super blessed to start my career working for somebody of that stature who I learned so much from.
So it's interesting. I called it the REA, you called it the Ralph Ingolstadt Arena, and you called it the Ralph. So which is it?
I think it's all interchangeable, right? I think a lot of the locals call it the Ralph, and Ingolstadt Arena is probably the most common, but I think they're all appropriate.
Nice. It was a bet. We were sitting there. I'm tapping the area, and Luke's like, "No, it's the Ralph Ingolstadt Arena," and I'm like, "Okay." You seem very set in your ways about that.
So after the Ralph, we'll call it. After the Ralph, your journey took you down to the Denny Sanford Premier Center down in Sioux Falls. I mean, that was a great move, and all of a sudden you're managing that whole, and also the convention center, I believe, as well. Is that right?
Yeah, there's a older 60-year-old arena convention center, and then we built this new facility. Right. And so I arrived about 8 months before it opened, and was very excited because I was actually born in Sioux Falls and lived in the east and west side of South Dakota. So it was kind of a full circle to come back there, and I just wanted to leave my fingerprints on opening that facility. But I'll never forget the first trip I took. The first month I was there, I went to Rodeo Drive and sat in the agent's office in Beverly Hills, and I said, "I just moved to Sioux Falls, and we're going to build a brand new arena there." And he looked at me and said, "Why?"
That's fair.
He's like, "You sure about that?"
He said, "We're not coming there. We're not coming to South Dakota. Like, why are you wasting your time?" I said, "No, it's going to be great. It's a great community and great part of the country and beautiful facility." So I'm sure it is, but was never a supporter at the beginning. But that facility opened up and had a real remarkable start, because there was that pent up demand and people wanted quality entertainment in that part of the country. And it quickly became one of the hottest Midwest venues. And I remember about 18 months later going back into that same office in Beverly Hills. And I think to this day, that person is one of the biggest champions, advocates for the Denny Sanford Premier Center, because he's seen the success that's tangible, and you can't argue with that. And they have great experiences when they come there, and it sells tickets, which is the bottom line. So worked there for 4.5 years, an amazing crew there, and they still do a great job today.
It's funny because in talking about Indie Country Fest or some of those issues,
sound familiar?
It really sounds familiar. I grew up in Cody, Wyoming, which, my first concert was in Casper, and we go to Billings for everything that we do. Luke was talking about Bismarck, and that there was nothing around. That was one of the reasons why you started Indie Country Fest, is to provide that sort of entertainment.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, if you build it, they will come. We'll fill the dreams there, and artists will come, people will come, and then it turns into from a 1-day to a 3-day event.
And the hospitality that the Dakotas bring just in general with the culture and the people there is just, I believe, I'm a champion for that, but it's a second to one. Yeah. And it's second to none, To
build on that comment, though, if you build it and they'll come, I think growing up in North Dakota, I think you learn more to create your own opportunities.
Right.
And North Dakota isn't the entertainment superhighway, right? And so people aren't looking to tour maybe there, or they're not looking to hire somebody from there. And so I think we've learned to shape the bushes and be proactive and create our own opportunities, like you guys are doing, that you're taking risk and you're building something that's going to be very, very successful for many years to come. And you're doing it the right way, and that's going to pay off. But again, it's not somebody bringing that in and dropping it down and having you work on it. You are creating it and you are building it. And I think that's remarkable.
It's kind of interesting because he talked about, a parking lot on Fremont Street, and it's kind of like the empty field where you're like, all right, I'm going to put
where are you going to put 1,000 cars?
Yeah.
We got to go talk to the guy that owns that field over there.
Where's the stage going to be? All of that. And it's kind of that same vision. You two have a lot in common.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Then it takes you down to where you're at right now, currently the GM of Chesapeake Energy Arena. Wow. Amazing, right? Amazing facility, amazing location in Oklahoma City. you've done a lot there, and accomplished a lot in our view, right? One of the things that we're looking at, I mean, it's amazing.
We looked at when we did our background research, I noticed that, it's one of the top 50 U.S. venues. After you went there, 2 of the top acts in the what? Top 50 tours were showing up, now 11. And then ticket sales was the big thing that I noticed. You went from like 103K from when you got there to like doubling to 225K in tickets. Is that just you leveraging those relationships that you had built up through the ACMs and those sorts of things? Or what did you do to make it better?
Well, great question. And we've been here 2 years now, and the laser focused goal was increasing the quantity and quality of tours in Oklahoma City.
Right.
And the first thing I did is I went out and brought onto our team one of the best booking guys in the country. His name's Michael Owens, and we started at the same time. And I hoped by the 2 of us attacking it, it would give us a fighting chance in Oklahoma City to turn it around. But it's like turning the direction of ocean liner. It's a click at a time. It's not overnight. But we're so thankful. The difference in the last 2 years with building a savvy marketing team and create a whole new proactive approach to booking and not just waiting for the phone to ring. I think the results have started to come in, and 2020 was going to be potentially the best year we ever had in almost 20 years. And just in April alone, we had Pearl Jam and Foo Fighters and Michael Bublé and several others. And we are so excited for this year, which has taken 2 years to build toward. And obviously, all that's been put on pause. But it's been a great experience to be here and work with the professional sports angle with the NBA. Is at a whole different dynamic. And it's been fantastic. And I learn every single day and work with some great, just professional folks on the sports and entertainment side. And we're very thankful to be here.
So how has entertainment changed from when you started, back in '96 spring break? Let's say up until March, because we'll go into post-COVID.
We'll get into that later
because that's a whole nother world. But how did it change from 96 until 2019?
Yeah.
Well, on the venue side, I think there's more and more great venues every year. Yeah. But there's not necessarily more touring acts every year. So for supply and demand, it gets more competitive all the time, which drives prices up to book talent, and competition is fierce, especially down in this market where you're in between Kansas City and Dallas and Denver, and there's great markets in between. So every show is a street fight. And so, but I think that's where, again, growing up in North Dakota has helped, because we had to go get all of those shows back in the day. So we were proactive. We were fighting for them, and South Dakota as well. So applying that same approach here, opposed to just answering the phone, I think has really paid off, and building a great team. But I tell you what, the industry is changing all the time, from ticketing to security. Every single year it evolves, and it's getting more challenging, and it's tough to make deals. The deals that we're cutting are tighter and tighter every year. The only thing tighter than the deals we cut are some of the V-neck shirts that Luke wears on these podcasts.
Yeah, you like
He
those?
wore a shirt.
Do you like this one today? I thought you'd appreciate this. Little Dolly Parton.
She's an angel and a treasure.
Yes,
right?
One of my very favorite.
So when Luke and I were sitting down, we're kind of figuring out who we wanted to have as a guest, and we were pitching guests back and forth, and he was pitching you. He was talking about the venues and working in the industry and how that's affected. And then he's like, yeah, he's the general manager for the Chesapeake Arena. I think that's Oklahoma City. Maybe the Thunder is what you said.
I knew it was the don't be playing that.
So we're sitting there, I'm driving, and I'm like, oh, wow, that's a great interview, because you're literally ground zero for, I don't want to call it the end of the sports world, but a frozen out sports world.
Frozen pause
in time, because literally Rudy Gobert gets tested positive. The game's what? You're seating fans at that point. How do you go from seating fans, getting people out, and then, the change? You're like there in time. It's a crazy,
it's wild
right?
position to be in. But not only that, it was the whole entertainment industry.
Right.
Yeah, the brief snapshot that night is it's amazing how fast things changed. And it was, I think, 6:40, and I was on the concourse before the game, and I got a call that said, the governor wants to take a very important phone call. Can you let him into the conference room? So I ran down and let the governor into the conference room. And he said, I've got a call come in. I said, no problem. You can take it right here. His phone rang. I said, I'll leave you alone. He said, nope, you should stay for this.
Oh.
And he put on speakerphone, and it was one of the head health officials for the state that told the governor, you now have COVID-19 in Oklahoma City. And I think he said, no, we don't. We have no positive tests yet. And he said, no, you do now. So a member of the Utah Jazz tested positive a short time ago. He said, are they in town to play the Thunder today? And he said, yeah, we're at the arena right now. Like, the game is in 20 minutes. Like, we're going to do announcing the players shortly. And so immediately we engaged some of the Thunder leadership and got the owner up to the conference room where we explained to him what was going on. And he called Adam Silver, the commissioner of the NBA, and let him know that we have a problem in Oklahoma City. And the quick determination was made to stop and get the players off the court. They were getting ready to do tip-off.
Right.
Yeah. And so the team doctor ran on the court, stopped it, got the players off the court. We all headed down to the locker room area and had a fast deliberation and a crisis management of what do we do? And we need to egress and evacuate the building safely and slowly. And this is right when everything was kind of breaking nationally. So nobody really knew, and it was new in the area, and no one knew anybody that had contracted it. And so you didn't know how severe it was or wasn't. But we announced that the game was being postponed, and folks had to leave the facility, and our staff did a great job getting them out. But our staff didn't know what was going on either. And so really from that point on, the domino started to tip. And we had Cher scheduled the next night in our facility, and she was in town, and they were getting ready to load in that night. And so we had to be nimble and flex that. And once the NBA suspended play, the next day was really the darkest day in sports, where every league stopped. The March Madness canceled, and every single tour then stopped, postponed, or canceled, all within that 24 hours. And the domino really tipped at Chesapeake Arena in Oklahoma City.
I just remember.
That's when it really hit me.
Well,
when it was like, whoa, this is for real. Like I didn't think, I knew it was for real and all that, but when all of a sudden, like you said, it was the darkest day, all of a sudden everything, for me, it felt like everything just stopped.
Do you remember that first text message or that first notification on my phone where, tested positive, and then I was like, oh, here we go. And it was boom, they're tested positive, the game's delayed, they're moving people out of the arena, and then boom, everything shuts down right after that. We were looking at ASU going to the March Madness, and it's like, how are they going to get that to go? We're going to get ready, we're going to plan, we're going to maybe go, and then boom, that shut down. And then, like you said, Cher in town, you had to flex that out. I was reading that they had to go in and just shut the hotel the Jazz were staying at and clean that down. And then Bublé's out. My wife would have been super sad. She loves that dude.
Who doesn't? And
then Pearl Jam out. And then what do you do? Like for this period of time now? Are you scheduling people? Are you flexing out till next year like everybody else had to do? How does that affect your job?
Yeah, it's been a real hard 7 months. It's been, we're still closed as a facility. We have no events, don't anticipate any in 2020. It's been hard. It's hard with making decisions on furloughs and layoffs, and you're trying to take care of your staff and look out for them and keep that company culture while managing budget crisis, because you are generating $0 of revenue. Right. You have expenses, and that's not sustainable over time, of course. Right. And so every single day is full of industry calls or committees or, how do we return to events safely? Right. And hosting appropriately. Mm-hmm. And we're booking out, a year or 2 years in advance because everything's being pushed back. And so there's so many moving parts, and it's been a tough time. And unfortunately, it's not over yet. And this is going to continue on for a little while. The only real key out of this is getting a vaccine that is adapted and adopted across the country by enough folks so we can safely return to indoor events, which will be the last thing to return to normal.
Right. Roughly, I know that you don't have the exact answer for this, but for 2021, when do you see that happening, and what capacity? From outdoor, I know you do many things. So even from outdoor events to indoor events, are they going to run at 50% capacity? What do you see, or what do you anticipate? Like you said, you're on calls every single day about this subject.
The business model doesn't work well for majority of the tours to to play to anything other than a full capacity house.
Right.
Yeah, we were
Opposed
talking
to
about
staggered seating.
that today because Nathaniel Ratliff had a 5-day show at Red Rocks, and I think it's $15,000 to rent the arena each day, and it's 175 fans that are allowed in. How do you make money on that?
But what else do you see for 2021 on the capacity issues? I know that it doesn't make sense for 2 or for 100%, but go ahead, expound on that.
I think there'll be limited capacity, if any capacity, until springtime in most places, especially the major markets on the coast are challenged. Really, I think tours will resume next summer for indoor play. I think there'll be some stuff in the spring, but really it's trying to salvage next summer at this point as an industry, I believe. And that's not being doom and gloom. I think that's just the reality of how far things are pushing out. Most of our conversations are the second half of 21 and beyond right now, opposed to the springtime. And being indoors is very different than being outdoors. And so I think, if it takes 6 months to lead up to a tour, if somebody wants to go out in March, they need to decide today to use all the equipment, to rehearse, to plan, to book, to schedule, to go in March. But if they're not sure that they can play to the capacity to, deciding today doesn't work, and so they're going to wait until they're sure. Well, if you don't have a vaccine out until first quarter 21, and they decide to go at that point, now you're late summer at the earliest for that major tour to get on the road. And then what happens when you have a log jam of content? And then will consumer confidence be there to come back to venues? Will people financially be able to afford them? There's so many questions and dominoes that we just don't know the answer to. What I do know is that entertainment always wins, and people will always find a way to support it, and they need it, and they want to come out for it. We're in the business of making memories, and that will never go away. It'll never be out of fashion or be retired. It's going to happen, whether it's February or next September. It's going to return, and it's going to be great. And I hope people will appreciate it much more then than they did before, as I will, going in the future.
And I believe they will too. Just a weird little example. My son and I tried to go to a high school football game the last weekend, right in Arizona here.
Spoiler alert.
Limited capacity, right? But we couldn't go in because they were sold out. We couldn't get tickets. That's later on in the show, I'll tell you. But we were so wanting to go, and even just that urge, there's so much pent up need for just to be together and make that memory. And I want to make that memory with my son and all that kind of stuff. And it was we're just talking a simple high school football game.
It's tailgating, college football, or the Sun Devils, going to a show.
Everything.
We were, my Band's in Town app popped up and said somebody was playing next weekend or this weekend. And I'm like, hey, I don't even know who this band is, Elefantante.
And you're like, but I want to go.
Do you want to go with me and see just for content?
Yeah.
And so we decided we're going to go see
Tracy Bird.
We're going to try to see Tracy Bird in a couple weeks just because it's something to do. It's to get out.
For sure.
Yeah. The day that my wife and I went to see Tenet the day we could at the movie theater because it had been 4 or 5 months. It made my head hurt, but it felt good to be back at the back in the movie theater, right?
Yeah. One last question for you, my friend Chris, and here's what we all want to know.
No. So what is your favorite concert of all time?
All time.
Favorite live show, I suppose.
The best show I've ever seen was 2004 XL Energy Center, night 3 of 3 to see Prince.
Told you. So that's the one show I've never seen. I wish I would have. I think the last time he toured here, it was like $200-$400 a ticket.
Jared's a massive Prince fan, which earlier episodes that really came out.
Yeah.
What made it so special?
It just showed that he had a command of what an entertainer is. And I wish other artists could take a master class from him, because he was so good and so engaging. And he had, I judge shows by the connection between the artist and the audience. And it couldn't have been, more passionate that night. And obviously there are many others like Garth Brooks and Foo Fighters. And there's just so many that are so good like him. But that was just one that stood out for the ages because it was in his home market, and the energy was raised to a whole different level. And it was the last time, unfortunately, I had a chance to see him. And I just don't know if people realize how good he was. He was special.
Yeah, it's one of those shows I should have gone. And, every once in a while, I think the last one, Slash was in town playing at down at the Van Buren where it's 3,000 people. And I was like, I really should go to that show. I haven't seen Slash. GNR, you probably need a bucket list and just check that off and be like, I'm not that big a fan of it, but he's a dude and he's a name.
It's one of those you need to see.
Yeah. So.
Well, thank you so much, Chris. Thanks for being gracious with your time. We appreciate you here at the Fest Podcast. Thank you so much. Thanks, and good luck with everything that you're doing in the future here. And thank you for being a friend of ours. We will talk to you later, my friend.
Thanks, buddy.
Thanks, guys.
Brothers and sisters, I hear you asking yourself day after day, what am I gonna have for lunch? Do I want another burger? No. Do I need another taco? No. Brothers and sisters, may I introduce you to Bruno's Pizza. Pizza is the bread of endless possibilities. What can go on a pizza can go in a calzone wrap. Look beyond a pepperoni, 32 pizzas in a snack. If you like heat, try the Lava Hawaiian. Marauder Pizza is also kicking. You need Bruno's Pizza in your life. Let the humble Bruno's Pizza lift you up from your hunger and deliver you into the realm of satisfaction. East Front Avenue, online at brunosmt.com. Can I get a napkin?
Hey, we're going to mow into Ralphie's top 3 right now. This is where we go ahead and get a hold of Ralphie. We give him the top 3, and then he tells us, I guess, what his top 3 is. Ralphie, you've been on quite a journey this week or this month, or I think it was last week.
Took a little road trip.
You've been on the road. Give us your top 3 stops from North Dakota to Texas.
You can say that I was on the road for a little bit. It was an 18-hour drive, and we drove it straight through. So
what?
It was me, my wife, 4-year-old, 2-year-old, and an 8-month-old.
What? Oof. I would have killed somebody. Probably would have just opened the door and jumped out.
So can I do a top 15?
Sure.
Whatever you want. This is your
spot. Got time. This is your segment.
All right, number 15.
Yeah, 15. Let me write this down.
All right, let's do it.
We don't want to get too crazy. Here's my third one.
All right.
We're on our way to Fargo, stopping at my mom's house, say hi.
Yvonne.
Yeah. Yvonne.
She was on our live last week.
She was. It was great.
So about 15 minutes away from Fargo, I look in the back. My 2-year-old's just covered with brownie from top of her head down to her feet.
Are you sure it's brownie?
It's at first I did not know.
That's why I don't have kids.
Good call.
It was not. We didn't give out the brownies, so our 4-year-old broke in and.
You got to keep your eye on that one.
So
you need to put latches on the doors and sensors on the windows, man.
For how bad that situation was, we got to my mom's house. We told her ahead of time, hey, we got a situation here. We need a wet towel and a dry towel. It was like a NASCAR. My mom came out, grabbed the kid, threw her in the bathtub. We cleaned the car. It was like no brownie incidents ever happened.
So
we thought it was going to be extremely long trips, how it started.
So you were only what? How far away from Bismarck is Fargo?
Not far.
About 2.5.
So you're 2.5 hours into your 18-hour trip, and already the kids made a mess, huh?
It was not good.
Well, you handled it like a champ.
Yeah.
All right, number 2.
Yep.
With an assist from Yvonne.
Thanks, Mom.
What do you got? 2.
So we get past that. We're on the road about 3:00 in the morning. We're driving through Manhattan, Kansas, and that's a little memory lane from the track and field days. Earned my first All-American honor.
Humble brag.
There. So, track and field indoor championships freshman year.
Dang. What was that in?
6th place.
Was that in the shot or the? Yeah, it had to be indoor.
Put.
Yeah. Wow.
Yep.
How do you remember how far you threw?
I think it was like 51 feet.
Oh, like 51. It was probably 68.
49.
No, it was embarrassing. It was probably.
Did you stop there?
Did you go by the track and field complex?
I wanted to. It was 3 a.m. and I could barely stay awake. So
who's driving at this point?
He was.
I was, yeah. So I was trying to make it all the way through, trying to be a tough guy. It didn't work.
So no
My
hotel.
wife ended up finishing it off.
Wow.
She took it home.
Yeah.
All right, let's hear it. Here's your number one top stops on your travels from North Dakota all the way to Texas, baby.
18 hours, drove all night, had 4 women in the car. My number one is the destination. I had to get out of that minivan.
You're like, thank God.
It stunk like brownie.
Brownies, garbage everywhere, Whopper wrappers.
Oh.
Whopper Juniors
Whopper
or the
Junior,
real
or did you
Whopper?
go the real one? You upgraded on the way?
Yeah. Whataburger.
Oh, that was probably Nebraska, maybe?
Texas.
No, Texas.
Texas.
So the
State
Whataburger
line.
is like
Texas.
way better than the Whopper, right?
Pretty
Look,
good.
there's a little bit of wobble there.
What the honest
There
opinion?
is.
You think it's a
It's
tie?
new.
You think it's a tie?
And Whopper, there's just it's lifelong there. It's like
He can't get away. It's like the mistress versus the wife.
It's an addiction.
Have you had the spicy ketchup?
I have not.
That next time you're there, ask for the spicy ketchup, dude.
Wait, at Burger King?
No, Whataburger.
Oh, Whataburger.
Oh,
You love Whataburger.
I do love me some Whataburger, man.
Well, on the way, there's probably Whataburger close to wherever you're at in Texas.
Oh, there is. That's where it comes out of.
Texas, baby.
So here's the problem, though. When do you drive back?
Oh, geez. Have you even thought about that? Do you want to think about
Yeah,
that?
I'm sorry.
Thursday.
Oh,
Are you gonna split it up in a couple days? Or are you still gonna go 18 straight?
We haven't decided yet. That's going to be a game time decision.
that'd be like a 3-day trip for me. Maybe 4. I'd just be like, all right, I'm done.
That would be coffee, Red Bull, coffee, Red Bull, coffee, Red Bull,
Yeah,
coffee,
it
cinnamon
was
roll,
a-
coffee, Red Bull.
Holiday Inn Express.
There was a lot of Red Bull.
Your kidneys are complaining.
Well, thank you, Ralphie. It's always a pleasure to get you on for the Ralphie's Top 3. This was a good one. I enjoyed it. It
was very
great.
good.
Wait till you see the video. The lights went crazy. So when everybody's jumping on that YouTube, it's pretty cool.
they go crazy?
Oh, yeah. You didn't see it? Jared was mesmerized.
I was focused in on you and Ralphie. Ooh, they're going crazy right
All
now.
right. Hey, we won't see you or talk to you. Safe travels, my friend. Back
Ralphie,
to North
we
Dakota.
going to get a roadside Whataburger on your final bite?
Hey, you never know.
All right.
Let's get some photos.
We got to figure that out, too.
That'll be good.
Yep.
Talk
All right.
to you guys later. Thanks a lot. Rah, rah, rah.
Bye.
All right. So,
Jared, what's one of your favorite stops when you were driving along country road?
country road. The first thing that came to mind is a place called Vern's. I don't even know if it's still there. It's just outside Fort Collins. So when I was a young lad, I was very much a problem child for my good Mormon parents. And I would road trip with my friends from Laramie to Fort Collins to get 3-2 beer. And every trip started and ended at Vern's.
3-2 beer.
Yeah, 3-2. Do you know what 3-2 beer is?
Yeah, it's alcohol level.
Yeah, it's like a reduced. So back in the day when the drinking age was, well, Wyoming was the last state to move from 19
Wyoming's
to
the
21.
wild, wild west, Jared. It's the last one where kids can still drink in the saloons.
Right, but Fort Collins, the drinking age was 21 for all booze and everything,
Yeah.
but you could get 3-2 beer at 18.
Okay.
So we would go over the border. We'd stop at Vern's. We'd
Okay.
get these amazing cinnamon rolls. We'd buy scratcher tickets because we always won there. And then we'd go get our beer and hang out. And then we would stop on the way back and buy more scratcher tickets and head back to Laramie and probably use our winnings to buy the beer and buy fireworks just over the border. So Vern's is kind of a special place in my heart, I suppose. What's your favorite roadside stop?
Cinnamon rolls.
Oh, they're so good. If we have any listeners in Colorado in Fort Collins, let me know if Vern's is still around.
Is Burns still
Send me a cinnamon roll.
So I'm going to jump on that Colorado bandwagon. So I was driving from here to Denver. I have some buddies in Pueblo, Colorado.
All right.
Right on the border on New Mexico and Colorado. You know what I mean? It's on the Colorado side, though.
Colorado side of New Mexico? Or
no, we got to listen, Jared. Come on, man. I moved fast today.
Yeah.
It's on the Colorado side.
Okay.
In Colorado, Pueblo. Rolling into Colorado. My buddies are like, hey, when you're on your way up, stop in Pueblo.
Right.
Go ahead and hit this place up. This is called Passkey. Best sandwiches you ever have in your life. I'm like, that does not sound good.
Right.
And it doesn't sound like a great sandwich. And they're like, no, do it. And then bring some up for me if that's cool. Went to Passkey, rolled in there. Pueblo's not a huge place, you know.
Right.
And found it right away. Everybody, I just asked. I was like, hey, where's Passkey? They're like, oh, it's right over there. You know, I'm like, sweet.
You're getting the sandwiches?
Oh, yeah. I'm like, I'm going to stop and eat mine first and then keep going. Amazing. Amazing. Best sandwiches. It was like it wasn't like a Philly cheesesteak. It was like it wasn't Philly. It was like a steak something or other. And it was just smothered with all kinds of goodness of onions and steak. And they have like their secret sauce type stuff on there too. And they did something with the bread. The bread was amazing. And I was like, I agree. That was a good place.
Like, good stop. Thanks for the info.
Oh, yeah. So if you're ever rolling by Pueblo, Colorado, drop into Passkey and have yourself a sandwich.
All right. So we're going to roll into stage left now.
Jared, what did you do this weekend?
I'm trying to find content, and it's hard. It was my wife's birthday, her birthday weekend, so we didn't do a whole lot because she pretty much set the tone. We were going to go out and get some dinner, and she's like, "Can we just DoorDash in Cheesecake Factory?" So that's what we did.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it was
solid.
Solid. We might go see Hocus Pocus because that's the only thing at the movie theater.
Yeah.
Tomorrow, but. That was it. We just hung out. I'll try to come up with something better next weekend, but it is so hard right now. Like there's just,
Make it happen, Jared. Make it happen.
It's hard.
Or we can come back and just say,
I did get a haircut. I got a haircut. Look good.
True.
Yeah. Thanks, Kristen. All right. What'd you do?
So my little guy and I, we went to high school football games.
Yeah, that was cool.
Games.
You went to one by my house, and I was thinking of you as I was driving back because the lights were on. It looked like they were letting people in the stands. So
it was not cool because it was one of those where I was like, oh, it's a capacity thing. It's fine. They never sell out, right? We've been to them for years now. And we go, okay, well, if it's a certain capacity, we should be fine. We got there early. We rolled into the parking lot and said, hey, they stopped us. Obviously, I'm like, I'll pay for parking. That's cool. Nope. And they go, hey, where's your ticket? I'm like, I'm going to get it at the gate. And he's like, nope, you're not. If you don't have a ticket, you can't come in. I'm like, wait, what's the deal?
How do you get a ticket?
So it was tickets for friends and family of the players and cheerleaders and band and all that kind of stuff. They didn't necessarily say, and I didn't get into it. I'm like, hey, I got it. That's fine. I go, how do I get out of here? And he's like, you can go through the parking lot and then come back out. Well,
you weren't going to leave.
No, not that easy.
You don't take no for an answer.
So we roll down our windows, drive through the parking lot. People are walking into the game. What are we doing? Hey, you guys got some extra tickets so we can get in? Hey, you guys got some extra tickets?
You're trying to scalp high school football tickets?
Hey, I was like, we wanted to go in and play. Mind you, our main goal when we go to these is at the end of the game to go play under the lights because everybody scatters and everything closed down. The lights still stay on for at least 15, 20 minutes. Well, we jump out there, play catch, have fun, and it's a blast.
To be fair, it is a high school football game, but it was Liberty, which is the state champions last year, and the Chandler, which they put out a lot of NFL players and college level players. So it was a game. It wasn't just.
Well, it was a game, but yet there still wasn't that many people there. So we're driving through and all up and down the parking lot, still trying to find tickets. And there's some people like, no, we don't have any. We only got one. I only got one, all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, oh man. Okay. Well, and the parking lot was elevated. So we could see down into the football field. So I'm like, well, shoot, we're in the parking lot.
Right.
I'm going to pull up. And I'm like, well, back in, you can sit on the roof, and then I'll just sit on the tailgate, and then you can see, it'll be fine. We're in the parking lot. Nobody was there, right?
Right.
Nobody's in the parking lot.
Who are you
Everybody's in the
harming
game.
at that point?
Well, I just that's fine, And literally as we pulled in, there's a guy with a golf cart and said, hey, we're kicking everybody out of here. You can't stay in the parking lot.
What? Why?
They didn't want it congregating and people and having a lot of people together.
No tailgating.
No tailgating. Yeah, there you go. No tailgating. So they removed everybody from the fences, which is fine. I get it, the whole thing and all that kind of stuff. So I was like, hey, that's fine. Sorry, I don't want to be a menace. We just really, really, really wanted to see a football game because we hadn't seen one and be there.
We need to find you somebody who has a kid.
Oh, don't worry. I got that already.
You already
handled.
did?
Yeah.
You got
So
it handled?
we don't go down easy. So it was like, you know what? No, we drove out of there. We drove out of that game. And then he was watching it on the stream while we're going to the next game because I knew there was another game that was close to where we live. So we headed to that football game. We roll in. There's not many people there.
Not
right?
quite as prominent a game.
Oh, definitely not. No. Like that Liberty and Chandler game was probably the top game of the week, you know? And it was great. I mean, there were some dudes out there with it from the 2 plays we saw. But we roll over to the other game. I'm like, we can probably get into this one.
I got a question.
Sure.
It's the state champions for Arizona. It's Chandler. Were they letting scouts in? Like,
well, I didn't even get to the gate, Jared.
I'm just curious. What do you think? Do you think they?
Oh, of course. Yeah, because I assume they would contact the coaches. Hey, we're coming to watch.
They give them a ticket. Okay.
Yeah. So like if it was ASU Herms guys or whoever U of A's guys.
I'm just curious about all of that
Trojan.
right now. So all right, we go to the second lesser.
I would definitely say they have passes with the coaches and say, hey, I want to come in and watch XYZ guy and. Can I sit
and like
stand?
you said, it wasn't capacity in there.
No.
And it didn't look like it when I drove by.
And those guys, odds are probably standing on the sidelines, not in the stands.
So that's why you need a coach's pass.
I know.
Or a scout.
No. We're getting a media pass.
Oh, you think we're media?
How is this not media?
We just need to drag the boys from Light Jumper around.
If you look at the last 3 interviews we had, it's media all day long, my friend.
We got some
big time media. Don't play that self. Build yourself up, Jared. Let's go.
That our interview today was huge. So.
Massive. So
all right, go on.
We're rolling over the other football game. We go in there. We park, and there's not many people there, right? And it's the middle of the second quarter, and obviously, I'm like, hey, didn't look like anything was going on. There's nobody outside the gates, so I'm like, well. Shoot, there must be
just walk in like you own the place.
Or a little bit of leeway, right? Because it's like there wasn't tons of people there, right? So I'm like, okay, they probably say, yeah, you can buy a ticket because they didn't give them all out. I don't know. I'm like, we're gonna try. And we go to the gate. They're like, hey, do you have a ticket? I'm like, no, I can buy one here, right? And they're like, no, you can't. And I'm like, oh, really?
They couldn't let a dad and his 6-year-old kid.
They would not.
That's crazy.
They would not. So. It ends up being for the first 3 quarters of the game, we're outside of the fence. The only 2 dudes outside of the whole fence. They said, you can watch outside of the fence. We can't let you in. We're the only 2 guys outside of the fence. We're going back and forth outside the fence to watch the game so we could see it on end zone to end zone. We had a blast. We were playing catch and stuff like that. Third quarter rolls around. We're at one end. Oh, no. Let me tell you the concession story.
Let's tell me the concession.
So the concession story, and now it's halftime. We've been running around thirsty. We don't have anything.
So you're outside.
We're outside of the fence. You can still see
so
in.
You can kind of look over and wish you were there.
Oh, yeah. Well, some of us we knew the elevated spots where we could
So you're trying to flag down a hot dog?
So we're down to the concession stand and there's still a fence, right? And we're outside the fence and I'm trying to wave somebody down. So like, hey, I have money, right? So I was like, hey, excuse me. Can you just buy a water? I got money. Can you get me
lemonade,
water?
Lemonade.
Yeah, they won't let me in. No, they didn't have hawkers. This is like the little concession stand.
Well, that's the problem they had.
Oh, and I was like, no, people were like ignoring us like we were the plague. I was like, hey, we just didn't have a ticket to get in.
You're the homeless guy outside begging for water?
Totally. I'm like, man, Van, just remember how this feels. Because like he's like, they weren't even talking to us or looking at us. Finally, a nice guy comes by and says, hey, what's going on? And I'm like, hey, they won't let us in. We're just thirsty. Can you buy us a couple waters? Here's my $5. Right. He's like, oh yeah, don't worry about it. And then we're like, wait, what if he runs out with our money? We can't jump this 14-foot fence.
It's $5. Like.
I know, but it was like the principle. Right.
You're just, is he going to do it?
Well, they wouldn't let us in. So you're like, what are they going to do?
You know what you're like? You're like the 16-year-old kid hanging outside Circle K waiting for somebody to buy some booze from.
Nope, I'm not. We're just trying to get water.
Just water.
So finally, guy gets the water. He comes back and says, hey, here's your waters. Here's your change. And he gave me my $5 back. Super nice guy. Didn't get your name. Thank you so much. That was the best thing. You're the only person that actually looked at us. So thank you so much. But third quarter rolls around. we see all the people that were stopping us at the gate walk by us in front of us, right? And we're like, wait, you're not supposed to be over here with us. You know, they were going home.
So you got in.
Yeah. So I'm like, well, they opened up the gates. And by, mind you, in a high school football game,
Nobody's there.
At halftime, right? Usually all the band parents leave because they already performed. The cheer team parents already leave because they already performed, all that kind of, so it clears. Right. So at that time, at halftime, there was half of the half that was already there, and we still wouldn't get in. But third quarter, gates open, we went in, watched the game. Game was over, and then we kind of went on the track, waited for the teams to clear, and then the teams cleared. And nobody was out there except the lights were still on. And I'm like, should we do this? He's like, let's do this. So then we went and played for 15 minutes under the lights on the grass field. Everybody was super cool, and we got what we came for. It was a great memorable moment, and it's fun. It was fun. So that was my high school football game.
We're trying to work our way up to Sun Devil Stadium is what we're doing.
Oh, we're going to get there. We're going to get there under the lights.
Nice. Trying to work some connections that we got out there. So we're almost out of here.
We're almost out of here, Jared.
You going to get me pulled over again?
How about you didn't get you pulled over? I was driving.
You got pulled over. So we're leaving last week. We're wanting to get home because it's Tuesday night. We got lots of stuff to do. We're driving along, talking about how well we thought the podcast went. How was the interview? Everything that went. I don't know. Were we hitting the lights?
We hit a few lights.
It was just
nobody was out.
We're in a hurry.
It's super late.
Want to get home, and we're driving. And Luke's like, "I'm just going to roll this light." And
well, it wasn't quite red. It was one of those. It was yellow, and then I'm like, I'm not going to make it, but.
It was.
I did say I'm pretty red. I said, hold on, we're gonna. I did check. There wasn't a car for miles.
Nothing. There may have been.
I even checked behind.
I think I saw a car on the left, like at the intersection. Maybe right when we went through, it was coming off the freeway.
Right, but that was like a half mile away, or a quarter mile.
And then you say, I'm going to roll through it. We roll through it. I go, whoop, whoop. And then all of a sudden, the lights go, whoop, whoop,
totally
behind us.
I was like,
it was the greatest thing because we're just sitting there laughing because it was funny.
Well, to set it, right? So it is a huge construction area we ended up in because I'm like, I don't know where to pull over. And then we're on a bridge, and I'm like, well, I'm just going to pull over here on that empty spot of the bridge.
So you think the boys could do some red and white, with their new fancy lights?
Oh, I don't know.
Replicate that.
So we're on the dang bridge, and what I say, hey, let's get our hands up. Let's make this easy. And we're looking out the left side because we're thinking he's coming up the driver's side.
And we're still laughing, like we're giggling like schoolgirls, right? It's just funny as hell.
And then he taps on the window on your side, and it's like,
oh, hey, I don't know how to get this window down. We're stumbling with it. He kind of comes up. He's like, I pulled you over, right?
Well, I was like, hey, sorry, it was stupid, whatever. You're still laughing. And he can barely hear me over you. You're like, I'm like, sorry, that was dumb. You got us, whatever you need, And then he goes,
he's just like, all right, go on the whole time.
Well, yeah, he goes, you know why he pulled you guys over? And then it was like, just checking to see if you guys were drinking. Nope, just trying to get home.
We're just giggling madly because this is the funniest thing that's happened all day.
It was nuts. Super cool guy, super great. I mean, it was cool. He could have, I obviously
could have write you up for a ticket.
Oh, yeah, totally.
And you were guilty as
charged, 100%.
Totally.
How do these fine folks, how can they find us there, Jared?
So tomorrow, or on Friday, we're going to drop this podcast at noon CST. Is that what we're calling it? Central Time? Mm-hmm. And then that's going to be on iTunes and all of your podcasting places. And then YouTube. This version will be out a week from Friday, but we're dropping the new version tomorrow or on Friday. So leave a comment, subscribe, and rate and review us. The more comments we get, the more notifications, the more stuff that we get, the better off it does for our algorithm. And then this is a special one. If you're one of my boys who's been to the tailgate and you're listening to this and you're wondering about Luke mocking my mojitos, this is the time to comment and let him know that you've had one of my mojitos and you love them to death.
Hey, don't forget our first 100 subscribers to YouTube. We're going to jump you right into that giveaway that we'll have as soon as we hit those 100 subscribers. So make sure you pound it, hit it, subscribe to us. Grab it, all that you can get. If you're about to like what you're about to hear, these are our boys from the Quaker City Nighthawks.
Oh, yeah?
So Here is to you. Here is to me. You know the rest. And we are